Every story appears ordinary till you see the core side of it.
And what you're looking for is the story behind the news.
We bring it to you from Lagos, the commercial capital of Nigeria.
Giving you all sides and political stories round the clock.
Every detail from the start line to the final whistle.
CoreTV News, expanding your view.
Hello there, thank you for joining us on CoreTV News this hour. I am Nifemi Oguntoye. The Minister of Petroleum Resources, Daisani Alison Maduke, has filed a fresh application for an interim injunction to restrain the House of Representatives from going ahead with a probe of the allegation that she spent 10 billion naira on a chartered aircraft. The fresh application filed through one of her lawyers, Michael Zekome, followed her apprehension that the House of Representatives would go ahead with its resolution to commence the probe on June 17. The minister, along with the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation, currently has two pending suits before the Federal High Court in Abuja, both seeking court order to stop the probe. The minister's earlier suit was filed before Justice Ahmed Mohammed of the Federal High Court in Abuja. In the second suit, which was just assigned to Justice Gabriel Kolawole of the Federal High Court, Abuja, the minister, along with the NNPC, joined the Senate and the House of Representatives as the first and second respondents, respectively. Justice Mohammed had on May 26 rejected a plea by a lawyer who appears for the minister and the NNPC in the first suit, Etigwe Uwa, to restrain the House Committee on Public Accounts from carrying on with the probe pending the hearing of the substantive suit. The judge, however, refused the application following opposition by the House of Representatives lawyer A.B. Mahmood and adjourned to June 19 for hearing. Pakistan is prepared to support Nigeria's war against Boko Haram insurgency. It's also interested in increasing the volume of trade with Nigeria. The Pakistani President Mamnoon Hussein gave this indication at a joint media briefing with his Nigerian counterpart Goodluck Jonathan in Abuja. Both leaders are also exploring a stronger business relationship and have endorsed a trade and bilateral agreement. Dapo Kubanja's report is presented from our studio.
It is a high-profile visit, so it was not surprising that Nigeria rolled out the drums for the Pakistani president. President Hussein is the first Pakistani leader to visit Nigeria in 32 years, and he came with a 70-man delegation consisting mainly of businessmen and potential investors. The Pakistani president is interested in military cooperation with Nigeria, particularly in the fight against Boko Haram threat. He is also interested in the strengthening relations between both countries.
We underline the need to institutionalize the existing economic cooperation, for which agreement on economic cooperation, comprehensive economic partnership has to be concluded on priority basis with a view to give momentum to the bilateral relations.
For the Nigerian authorities, a number of issues need to be addressed, and these, they insist, will be tackled in further talks with Pakistani president.
Pakistan has been quite helpful for us in terms of security issues. They've been training a number of defense personnel, and they will continue to do that. They also have developed significantly in terms of defense industry. We are also developing. These are areas we can cooperate, areas of agriculture, which Pakistan is doing quite well. Of course, you know that in Nigeria too, we are changing our approach to agriculture.
Bilateral ties had existed over the years between Nigeria and Pakistan, but both countries are now working towards a stronger relationship. The Nigerian authorities are also hoping to secure the release of over 30 Nigerians currently serving time in Pakistani prisons.
Delta Airlines has confirmed that one of its Atlanta-bound airliners was diverted to Dakar, Senegal on Monday for precautionary reasons, as against earlier speculations that explosives were found on board. Delta Airlines Director of Corporate Communications, Europe, Middle East and Africa, Olivia Collins, says the flight resumed to the United States after a short stop. He maintained that the safety and security of passengers and crew is the airline's #1 priority. There had been speculations earlier that the passenger on the airliner had explosives on him with the intention of blowing up the plane. An unexpected electrical fault on the plane did not help matters, as it further sparked more suspicion. A passenger, Edith Effiong, who was aboard the plane, had tweeted that the Atlanta-bound airliner had been diverted to Dakar amid suspicion of a suspected bomber on board. The police in Abuja have dismissed fears of a security alert in one of the major markets in the city center. This was after residents of the Federal Capital Territory were shocked to see increased security checks at the Garki market. The police, however, say the move was meant to assure residents of their safety.
Well, first and foremost, I want to make it categorically clear there is no bomb scare anywhere within the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And this is a routine security check. And as a proactive service, we felt we should be doing this from time to time to reassure the citizens that we are there, and even those conducting business within the market, that they are safe and secured.
Meanwhile, the police authorities have provided a 1,000-unit housing complex for 7 officers and men. The housing units located in Dakwa on the outskirts of Abuja were commissioned by Vice President Namadi Sambo on behalf of President Goodluck Jonathan. Sambo reports that the estate is named after former Inspector General Sunday Adewusi.
Over the years, the police authorities have had to grapple with the challenge of providing adequate housing for 7 police officers. But the police, under the leadership of the Inspector General Muhammad Abubakar, is keen on putting an end to the plight of the rank and file in acquiring decent houses. He says police now have 2,000 housing units in the last 2 years and is set for more.
The vision behind this project is to agglomerate the exact premier housing deficit facing the force and therefore provide comfortable and affordable housing for the personnel of the Nigeria Police Force. The completion of this project in Abuja through public-private partnership will also lead to the development and establishment of similar projects in other states of the Federation.
Boko Haram activities and how to contain the insurgents is a major question on the lips of Nigerians. But Chairman House Committee on Police Affairs is also bothered about poor funding of security formations in the country.
We'll find out that we don't need to be going beyond the envelope system so that we'll not be conflicting with the executive aspect of the part of the government. But I am appealing that let us do something drastic, something urgent in funding of the security agencies.
President Goodluck Jonathan says he is committed to providing affordable housing for Nigerians across board. He was represented by Vice President Namadi Sambo.
These houses have been delivered at the lowest cost, which is made possible through equity contribution to relevant stakeholders. I am proud to state that the present leadership of the police force has been focused on the balanced development of all aspects of policy.
And as officers and men of the police occupy these houses, the leadership is expecting more commitments from them. Pius Samuel, CoreTV News, Abuja.
The federal government has been urged to tap into the abundant human resources in Nigeria's ivory tower in order to improve its security. This was the highlight of the University of Lagos convocation lecture held at the school auditorium. Omotayo Alo was there and she now reports.
Preceding the 2013 convocation ceremony, scores of academians gathered at the main auditorium of the University of Lagos for a convocation lecture with the theme Learned Academias and Social Responsibility. The guest lecturer, Professor Emeritus Ayo Banjo, states that the Academy of Education needs to be subjected on paying greater attention to Nigerians' unique problems than to the facile borrowing of practices from abroad. In his opinion, this practice has not done the country any good.
It's the government which will call the academies and say, look, you've got Boko Haram, let's say. What can you, these wise people, what can you advise us to do? Or election is coming next year. How do you think we can avoid violence and consult the academy? They are there.
Speaking in the same light, chairman of the occasion, Professor Akinlawa Mabogunje, and Pro-Chancellor and Chairman of Council UNILAG, Professor Jerry Ghana, say that academics are waiting to play their roles in the development of the country, most especially at the time the country is under the pressure of insecurity.
Today, we're still planning without facts because Nigeria is a country which doesn't care about information. And it underlies security. When we say intelligence, we don't mean this. We mean having the data from which you can do the analysis.
If any country does not develop knowledge, you are left behind. That is a very, very serious deficit. So the knowledge system is extremely important for us to promote and fund. And the lecturer today did an excellent work in reminding us that the growth of academies in various parts of the world was part of their own development.
For the Vice-Chancellor, University of Lagos, Professor Ramon Bello, the institution has blazed the trail with a newly introduced course designed to curb insecurity.
In the university here, we are commencing some programs, postgraduate programs on security, which will lead to a lot of research work now being carried out in-house to be able to generate and profile local solutions to our own local problems on insecurity.
However, commenting on the recent protest actions staged by the students of UNILAG on the hike in late registration fee, he explained that the issue has been resolved and refunds of those who have paid will be made starting from 16th June 2014, while promising a peaceful, conducive environment for the convocation ceremony.
They are going to a next stage where it's not as easy for them to really get a job, but what we know is that the graduates that we are producing in Lagos are going to be able to put themselves.
As the 2012-2013 graduates of the University of Lagos are celebrated, it is the belief of academias that they would be a source of solution to Nigeria's myriads of challenges. Omotayo Alo, CoreTV News, Lagos.
President Goodluck Jonathan has met behind closed doors with the governorship candidates of the People's Democratic Party in Ekiti and Osun states, Ayodele Fayose and Iyiola Omishere respectively. The meeting, which was held inside the presidential villa Abuja, centered on their preparations for the forthcoming governorship elections in their states. The two candidates, who arrived separately, left at the same time after meeting the president for about an hour. Fayose later told State House correspondents that the Sunday bloody incident in Ado-Ekiti came up for discussion during the meeting. He claimed that trouble started when some supporters of the All Progressives Congress accosted some of his supporters who were returning from his campaign office and killed one of them. He further claimed that the initial plan of the APC supporters was to remove his branded T-shirt on the deceased and replace it with APC uniform to give an impression that they were attacked. Fayose boasted that despite attacks, his supporters would not be deterred and are still fully mobilized to vote for him in the forthcoming election. Governor Kayode Fayemi had also briefed the Inspector General of Police Mohammed Abubakar and the National Security Advisor Sambo Dasuki on the fracas. Now, in what appears a daring move after a shootout that claimed one life, Ekiti State Governor Kayode Fayemi took the people of Ado-Ekiti, the state capital, by surprise when he stomped the streets on a rally. Our Ekiti State correspondent Rashid has details.
Sensing the thoughts and security fears on the minds of Ekiti people, especially residents of Ado-Ekiti, aftermath the Sunday police shootout, Fayemi's daring walk through the state capital held them spellbound. Again, the governor dares those who care to challenge the grip of the ruling APC on power that he will continue his shelved Ado rally.
Where you have a huge conurbation of people, Moferere, Itaiku, Igirigiri, Ajebandele, Omishanjano, Odo, and so on and so forth. Because we know that Ado is not just the old Ado-Ewi. Ado has expanded. It's a big capital city. Half of Ekiti population is probably here.
Ado, being the capital city of Ekiti State, shelters indigenes and non-indigenes alike. A professor at the Ekiti State University, who is also a native of the town, believes Fayemi has won the hearts of Ado residents following his successful development of the city.
As an indigene of Ado Ekiti, the entire Ado Ekiti community, both the indigenes and other people who reside in Ado Ekiti, are solidly behind Dr. John Kayode Fayemi, and we are going to pay him back by casting our votes for him come June 21st.
We are ready to cast our vote for DKF in coming election.
The governor, though, boasted of achieving so much developmental success across the state, he however says there is more to contribute in the area of infrastructure.
Some of their requests were not really novel to me. I knew that they wanted those things. We've put the processes in motion to have those things. They've been in the pipeline, and there's no way we're not going to do many of these things before the end of the year.
As the June 21st governorship election draws near, Ado Ekiti, being the local government with the largest possible votes, remains the place to grab for political parties who are seriously contending for the governorship seat. Rashid, CoreTV News, Ado Ekiti.
You're watching CoreTV News on the hour. I'll be back with more stories shortly after this break.
CoreTV News now provide a platform for live coverage of political rallies and electioneering campaign from anywhere in Nigeria. Political news stories, political editorial reviews, political discussions, personality profile, people's parliament from the national, state and local government assembly. Contact us now on 0803-471-8550 or 0803-724-9733. 01453-3407.
Our 24-hour news station. Come June 21, it will be decision day for the people of Ekiti. 18 candidates are gunning for one seat.
I am the next governor of Ekiti.
But the people will have the final say.
I know that tolerance has a very big place.
Join extensive coverage of the election and get up to the many details as development unfolds.
I'm the voice of Ekiti people.
With expert analysis from the best political team on television.
And that's honesty of island. Without
Join us all day June 21 to find out who emerges the next governor of Ekiti State.
We have agreed to move this state forward.
Keep a date with us on CoreTV News. You can also watch us live on our website on www.coretvnews.com, a 24-hour news station.
Glad to have you back. For more information on the news and other programs, you can visit us on our Facebook page. It's facebook.com/CoreTV News. You can also follow us on our Twitter handle at CoreTV News NG. As well as on YouTube, it's youtube.com/CoreTV, leave a space, and news. Now, the heavy crackdown on protesters who have been occupying most of Brazilian major streets in protest against hosting of the World Cup that they described as a drain on the government's purse appears not to be yielding dividends as people have defied all appeals by government to leave. Workers' unions in Brazil promised to stage massive protests during the World Cup to reject FIFA's occupation of the country. The claim is that the Mundial had brought the country completely under siege by the military, who have carried out several raids on densely populated areas that have dislodged poor people who are trying to make a living in the country. Alcano Nuns, a technician and an active unionist opposed to Brazil playing host to the World Cup, says the competition will benefit players, hotels operators, prostitutes, but the average Brazilian will remain in perpetual poverty. 24 hours to the opening ceremony of the 2014 World Cup in the city of Sao Paulo, workers are refusing to leave the streets and call off strikes that have crippled essential services in the country, which include transportation and water supply. Jihadis seized Iraq's second city of Mosul and the surrounding Nineveh province in a major blow to a government apparently incapable of stopping militant advances. Prime Minister Nouria Maliki responded by asking Parliament to declare a state of emergency and says the government will arm citizens to fight the militants. Parliament Speaker Usman Al-Najwafi told journalists the gunmen were heading south towards neighboring Salahuddin province. An Interior Ministry official says Mosul, the scene of deadly clashes since last Friday, was outside the control of the state and at the mercy of the militants. Soldiers and police were stripped of their uniforms and fled before the militants used loudspeakers to declare they had come to liberate the city of some 2 million. The assailant says that the provincial government headquarters and the Nineveh Operations Command, as well as the airport. They also freed hundreds of prisoners from 3 jails. Officials have blamed external factors for the rise in bloodshed, particularly the civil war in neighboring Syria. That's it on CoreTV News this hour. Do join us again at the top of the hour for more stories. I am Nifemi Oguntoye.